because he really kicked that fire off in me, and I just want to work with his crazy ass. Whatever you want to do, keep going with it. Just trust yourself. Block out all the noise. Don't tell everybody what you're doing. That determination, that ferocity to just keep going for what you want, no matter what. Like half your face is coming off and you're still like, come at me, bro. My main ensemble part was I played a door. And when he talks, he commands the attention of everyone around. And I'm someone who wants to share that passion and that energy and that magic that he got when watching a great film or TV, how we're quick to judge people based on, oh, because he's a cop and, oh, he's a little black kid, that's why he did that. No.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my podcast. And this session, I'm having a fast rising actor with us. So, like I said, he's fast rising. So make sure you keep your eyes glued to your screen because you'll start seeing him all over the mainstream. I'm talking about Paquito G. Myers. What's up, Paquito? How you doing, my brother?
I'm excellent, Dapo. How you doing, my man?
Awesome. First and foremost, thank you for joining us on the session. On this platform, we talk about leadership, communication, and networking in general, but then we love having guests like you, just tell us about your life experience, what you're doing, how you're dealing with life, because we know we all have different things that work for different, variety of us, and just share your experience with us. So before we deep dive into the session, first tell us about yourself. Who is Paquito G. Myers?
Let's see. Well, in a nutshell, I'm just someone who enjoys filmmaking, acting, the filming industry, and I'm someone who wants to share that passion and that energy and that magic that he got when watching a great film or TV or series, and just that magic you get from watching a good piece of content. Like, you walk away different, you walk away thinking about yourself different, you walk away with a new perspective on yourself, on the world, about events, just changed in some way, shape, or form.
Beautiful. And how long have you been acting? Just tell us about your acting experience so far.
Well, I've been acting for over 15 years now. I began when I was a teenager. Officially began when I was a teenager, although I've been acting all my life, but we'll start officially. That's when I began studying, like reading tons of acting books, filmmaking books. That's how I really started my education. Like, once I realized that this is what I wanted to do, I went to Barnes & Noble and picked up about 10 different acting and filmmaking books, producing your own films, different acting techniques, Sanford Meisner technique, Michael Chekhov, Stanislavski, all the classic acting books that they say you should get. I pretty much got it. And then started diving in, reading, and then taking classes and doing plays, and the rest is history from there.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing journey, honestly. But one thing that I love having people share, because I also had the same experience, is what was your first acting experience? Like the very first one. The very first time you acted, what was it like?
My very first time I acted was a play called Wiley and the Hairy Man. and I played part of the ensemble cast. So it was basically part of the chorus in the background. And that played the interesting thing. All the ensemble cast played multiple parts. And so my main ensemble part was I played a door. So we all played the scenery, and I was the door into the home of the main characters. So whenever the characters would enter or leave their home, they had to push me open or close me shut. So that was interesting. That was really interesting. So it's like, okay, how do I get into the mindset of a door? What does a door do? A door swings open and it swings closed. It also creaks and makes noises. So all of this, I'm thinking of like, how can I be the best door possible?
Yeah, now I practice. You see, now I pretty much understand where you come from when you're acting, because we've done a couple of films together, and I'm beginning to understand how you get into that great acting, because you just said something special that I think majority of those actors out there or young actors out there can just learn from. Like, how do you get into the mindset of a door? That is just so peculiar. In a nutshell, could you just tell me about a a role that you've acted in, that after acting in that role, it also had an impact in your personal life? You acted in the role, and then after the entire role, you were like, okay, now I understand this personality.
Okay. Well, I would say one of my projects that I did last year, it was actually a play, a two-person play called Unrest Empathy, written by Ryan Scott Thomas and Nathan Gipsy. It was a play about Micah. I play a character named Micah, and my younger brother was killed by a police officer, and like a mistaken, the police officer thought the toy gun was a real gun. And so he shot my little brother. And so the play revolves around me basically kidnapping and holding hostage this police officer that shot and killed my brother. And the play develops. Well, I have him constrained in this room, and it's a conversation essentially that happens on both sides of the coin. My side being that side of the brutalized, the victim, African-American living in the ghetto with a younger brother who got killed by a cop. And the cop isn't like a gung-ho racist cop. He's not that at all, but he made a snap decision, and unfortunately that decision cost someone their life. And so the play takes place and asks us that question of, what would you do in that situation? And so the opportunity arises in which I can get this officer and in a way exact my revenge on him, get answers, seek clarity. All of that is what I was striving for as far as that conversation with that officer and me kidnapping him. Did I want to kill him? Was there a part of me that wanted to kill that officer? Of course, because that rage of having your brother, a family member, your younger brother taken away, that does something to you. And especially like, because you're the older brother, you feel kind of helpless, like you couldn't do anything, but that's your job as a brother, as an older brother. And then you feel like you failed. So all of that resentment and anger and angst and just why, and wanting to work through all of that. That's what this play was. And it was an incredible experience because the way it was written, you really get to go into both sides of the story. You really get to go into how my character, Micah, was feeling. You get to go into how Officer Hennig, his feelings and emotions in that moment, and then dealing with the repercussions, and how he was so changed by this ordeal as well, and how because of that he got harassed. Neighborhood people were bombing, like throwing glass at him at his home, writing graffiti, just slandering his name, all kinds of things like that, because they just saw him one way. And what this play does is what's called unrest empathy. It forces you to empathize with the other side, because we are literally in this confined space with just me and this officer and his gun. And so the whole time we're dancing on the eggshells, walking this tightrope. You don't know, oh man, is Micah gonna kill this cop? What's gonna happen? Is the cop gonna call back up? Are they gonna roll down and kill him? And that's the beauty of it. You just don't know what happens until the end. And so after that, that really forced me to look at myself another way, and society as well, on how we just, based off of one event, how we're quick to judge people based on, oh, because he's a cop, and oh, he's a little black kid, that's why he did that. No, there's so many moving parts. There's so many other sides to the story that we don't get a chance to see and hear. Mm-hmm. And that's this play was very great and very profound and impactful for me.
In fact, from the way you just explained it, I can just tell about how eye-opening playing that kind of role could be, you know, the kind of impact that, you know, that could have on your psyche, basically, and how you see things. Because there's some kind of situations that they just happen, and you have to make this quick decision in a matter of split seconds. And when people make those decisions, and maybe you make them in front of a camera, for example, people are like, oh, you should have done this, but you're not the one in that position to make that decision. It's so easy to stand back and say, oh, I could have done this. But when you're there and you have just like 2 seconds to make a decision which involves life and death, how would you do it? You know, so being in that kind of position changes you. You know, mm-hmm. For me personally, what it does to me, it just makes me step back and think more and try to put myself in that position. Like, mm-hmm. What would I have done? And if I make the wrong decision, can I make it right on the spot, real fast? Mm-hmm. Because the chances of making a bad decision is always there. But yes. One thing I've learned about people that are, you know, improved personally is that every time they make a bad decision, they're always willing to correct it right then and there. Some people make the bad decision and they stick with it. Some people make a good decision instantly, but some people know that when they make a bad one, they can correct it, they can rectify it right there, and then, you know, evolve from that situation and become possibly a different human being. Sounds like a character arc, you know, you're going this way, and then when it comes to acting, you know, how do you go through, you know, the stage of auditioning for a role? How do you prepare yourself, you know, when it comes to auditioning for a specific role? Do you like go through multiple auditions and like, okay, this is not mine, okay, this I could do? Because I know that you probably have multiple auditions that you see and then you apply for. How do you pick and choose, and you're like, okay, let me take this, and then you prepare yourself for those? What's your process like?
Okay, I look at the character, the descriptions, and then if they have sides or a script or anything like that, I like to read that over and basically read what my character is saying, and then read how other characters treat my character. Do they treat my character with respect? Do they like him? Do they dislike him? Do they think he's an a-hole? Do they think he's a good guy? All of these possibilities I run through because, like, oh, if they think he's a bad guy, then what in the script indicates that? And I try to look for these key moments, and I'm like, oh, then I start to build around there, and then also read, the descriptions to see who this character is. Like, we're in the same age group or not, because then if we're in a different age group, then I have to shift my thinking to younger or older. Similar profession, like what they do, how long they've been on their job or profession or career, because certain people are more geared to certain career types, which entails a certain mindset and a personality type. And then if you have them, oh, this person's been in this career for 10 years, they're pretty much locked into that mindset, and they don't allow themselves that much wiggle room to change. So I think about all of this as I'm compiling how I'm going to attack the character and how I'm going to approach the character. Mm-hmm. And then where they're from. Are they from America? Are they from another country? Oh, where in America are they from? So I can dial it down even more with accents and things like that to try to make it as specific as possible. Because one thing I learned, filmmaking and acting is about capturing those specific moments in time. Mm-hmm. Because we're not with these people their whole life. So you don't have 100 years to tell their whole life story. Mm-hmm. We're with them, if it's a film, we're with them hour and a half, 2 hours. So we had that set of time to tell a complete journey. Mm-hmm. From where they started to now where they end, and what they go through and how they react in between.
I know you said you said that you did stage play. And mm-hmm. then you've also acted in front of camera. Mm-hmm. What was the experience like for you? What's the variation in the experience when you were acting on stage and also acting in front of camera? What was the experience like for you?
I like the major differences.
Yeah, the major variations.
I would say stage performing, live performing is a little bit more interactive with your audience, because when you're performing on stage, it's like the play itself takes on character. Because you have the script, you have your blocking on what you're gonna do, and then you pretty much 85% have how you're gonna deliver it. But once you get out there and you feel the energy of the audience, of the crowd, and then when you say a line or a piece of dialogue and then the crowd reacts, you got to kind of let that breathe a little bit. Like if something dramatic happens and then you hear the audience gas, you don't just trample right over that and keep going. You kind of let it breathe a little bit and let them feel it. Let that feeling sink into them. And then when you feel it, then you move on. That's a major difference with on-camera work, because the camera is the audience and the camera doesn't really react. So it's all you. And as far as technique, you have to go bigger on live performances, because unlike the camera acting, each person is a lens, each person is a camera, and you want to make sure that you give each and every lens, in every ears, the undivided attention and that energy. So you have to play your movements a little bit bigger. You have to project a little bit louder to make sure that everybody can hear you and feel you. And that's the major thing. Film and on-camera work, things are a little bit more subtle. I want to say more realistic, but a little bit more subtle, not as big and grand, because you have lenses that are super tight on your face that, I mean, you
Like
literally see
in your
the
space.
yeah. So you don't have to be as grand and as epic. You can keep those, just a little twitch of the eye can emote so much, or just a twitch of the face can emote so much, you know? And that requires a whole different type of technique, because now you're playing for the camera, but you're also playing against another person. Usually, sometimes you're not even playing against the person. So I think, in essence, on camera work taps into your imagination just a little bit more, because you have to do it multiple times with that same energy, with that same delivery, with that same passion, and with that same shock and emotion every time. And you have to really get in a certain headspace in order to do that effectively. And it also does allow for a little room of, it takes a little bit of pressure off as far as getting it perfect every single time, like how you have to do on live performances, because there are no retakes on stage and in theaters. You go and you go. You get that one shot, and that's what you get. And if you mess up, you better play it off like it was part of the show, because the audience doesn't know. They only know what you show them and what you tell them. Exactly. So if you messed up, you roll with it like it's part of it. And that also has happened, you know. So, but each teaches you an important part of the game. And I think both of them together really help shape you to be, may not necessarily be Denzel, but a good actor. Someone who's believable. Someone, when you watch, you can get into the story. You know, and that's the main job of the actor, to get the people to believe.
Very, very interesting, because when you said something about, you know, when you make a mistake during a live performance, you don't even act like it happened, you just keep it going. I've seen occasions whereby, you know, you're watching a live performance going on and an actor forgets his line, but then, you know, the co-actors just keep going and they help him, and you don't notice it until maybe after the show, when you get to talk to them. They tell you things like, man, I lost my line, but it's not just obvious, you know. It just, it rolls with the whole, with the show. Being in the play, in the live theater industry, and also, you know, on camera, did you have like someone that inspired you during, you know, when you used to be an actor on stage and also an actor, you know, in front of camera? Did you have like two different people that inspired you, or was it like just one person that you're like, okay, this is the guy that really helped me during my transformation in becoming an actor?
I don't have one for each category. I will say I do have one actor in particular, Samuel Jackson. He's, I would say, my biggest inspiration in my acting. Yeah, I would say Samuel Jackson, which he also is a stage actor as well. Pretty much, if you get into acting, you most likely than not get your start on stage, you know, be it doing school plays, church plays, community theater, what have you. Generally, that's some of the first experiences with acting. But I would say him because what he brings to the role, to each role that he plays, his attitude, I'm not envious, but I aspire to have his just badass attitude. Like, he walks into the room and you know he's there. He steals the room. And when he talks, he commands the attention of everyone around, and his roles that he plays are unique roles. They're different roles. They're not the stereotypical roles, you know. Like there was a time when he was like the angry black guy or whatever, but even then, that was his niche, and he put the spin on it. Oh, he's the angry black guy in the action movie. Oh, he's the angry black guy, but as a CEO. Oh, but now he's a philosophizing, Bible quoting hitman. Like, huh? Oh, but then he does goofy things like snakes on a plane, you know, like, so just his variety of roles, and still his badassness and his command of the screen and his presence is consistent throughout, no matter what project he plays in, no matter how big or small the part is. Because, you know, he wasn't always the lead man, but when he showed up, you knew he was there.
He's such a dynamic character, you know, you could always tell it. When you said being the angry black man, I remember one of the films that he did. I don't know if you've seen this film, Amos and Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah, like it was just fantastic in Amos and Andrew. And then I also remembered his role in Django. That was just funny. That was crazy. I was like, man, it's just like he can just be anything, and he can just own anything. You know, he's just fluid. It's like water, just take any shape, any form, and make it fun and interesting. I remember the first when he was I recently saw Do the Right Thing, and I saw him do the right thing when he was really young, and I was like, wow, you know, it's just interesting seeing them. And then you know that these people didn't just start from being the lead role. They didn't just start from you seeing them on this mega screen. They started from somewhere too, you know, and that also brings the part of, you know, as a young actor, you know, you got to understand you start from somewhere, you know, and then you just keep it going. I've always wanted to ask you this question. When you act a role, you know, in a film, we have the protagonist and the antagonist. Which one would you prefer the most to be? Would you rather be the hero of the story or the villain of the story?
That's funny. If you'd asked me this a couple years ago, my answer would have been different. Because of course, you're young, you always want to be the hero. But now that I'm getting a little bit older and a little bit more experience, I would like to play more villain roles and antagonist roles. Of course, I still want to be the hero, but not all the time, because I'm the hero all the time in my normal life. I want to be something different. So let me step outside myself and be the bad guy, be the villain, because it's something liberating about being the bad guy and given zero cares, you know, because when we're good and we're the good guy and the hero, we care about everything, we want to save everybody. The villain is just, nah, I'm in it for me. What am I going to get out of it? Or what's my goal? Oh, people get hurt, things happen. Oh, well, just having that freedom of just not caring is liberating.
And I understand, honestly. I remember I used to be like that. I used to have more interest in the hero of the story. But then I think the movie that changed me was Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
And I was like, Batman is no fun. You know, Batman is no fun. Like, Batman is nothing without a Joker. And even the Joker says it. So to me, the more interesting your villain, the more help your hero gets. And I think it's the villain that really, really brings out the what we love in the hero.
Yes.
You know? So for me, I think the villains, and I've seen a couple of villains that, you know, they acted out their roles so good that people will be like, when people come and tell me, oh, have you seen Gladiator, for example, and then
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix, and people will be like, "Oh, I hated that guy." In my
Oh my
mind,
God.
I'll be like, that's a success because that's the goal of the director, for you to hate this character. So
Yes.
every time someone tells me, man, I really hated this villain, I'm like, okay, if I'm writing the script, I want to make sure you hate my villain because that's my goal, you know. So,
Right.
it makes you put more work in developing the villain,
Mhm.
because there is more work involved, because we already know that the hero is the hero of the story. We know that,
Yes.
yeah, he always kills the bad guy, but then how strong, how witty, how intelligent, because that's what will determine the hero of the story. Basically, in a nutshell, the hero is nothing without the antagonist.
Yes.
So I think people taking the role of the antagonist, they have to be someone that people just want to see. That some people that they're just like, wow. Because sometimes when you watch the villain, you even learn more. You
Yes.
learn more. I'm like, wow, these guys are great. you know.
Mhm. And you
Um.
can learn from the
Mhm,
villain too. Like, I'll give you two quick examples.
mhm.
Touching on Batman and Dark Knight, when Batman is like, why do you, why do you want to kill me?
Oh, you got
He's
the
like,
voice too.
he's like, kill you? No, I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you?
Yeah.
So that right there is just like, whoa, that's his motivation right there. It's just like, I
Mhm,
don't want to kill you. It's like, yo, without you, there is no me. I'm here to
mhm.
push you.
And
Basically, great villains push their heroes to beyond their limits. And
yeah,
then touching again on intriguing and engrossing villains, Thanos from Avengers.
yeah.
That Avengers Infinity War, that was Thanos' movie.
I
Yeah, the
still,
Avengers were in
yeah.
it,
Mhm.
but it was his
I
movie.
still
And
tell people Thanos is my favorite character in the movie.
right, like you, whenever he talks, you listen to him, and then when he's done, you're like, oh, I kind of get it. I wouldn't go about it like him, but I get it. That is a great, when you can sympathize or empathize with the antagonist, brilliant.
Yeah. And I remember a line the Joker said when he said, "You and I are the same." I think that line is very, 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 very profound because that's the truth. It got to a
Mhm.
point even Batman had several chances to take out the Joker, but he didn't do it. And the Joker was like pointing it out. In fact, the Joker was having more fun because even without the Batman, he was still doing his stuff. Batman is boring. If the whole movie was Batman, no one would probably watch it because it's boring. But
Mhm.
Marvel, are you a Marvel guy or a DC guy? Marvel or DC?
That's not fair. Because Marvel is killing the movies right now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but it's like if DC would just kind of get their stuff together, they would be on par. So I'm not gonna answer the way you want me to answer. I love Marvel and I love DC. Batman is number one to me. Wolverine is second. So that's why I can't have a favorite, man. I love great characters. I love Batman because he plays with gods, but is a man and never bats an eye and never backs down. And that determination and that willingness to just go no matter what speaks to me. That's why I mess with Batman. And Wolverine is the same. He's the smallest. You can blow him up, you can set him on fire, you can shoot him with whatever, but until you completely take him out, he's coming after you and he's not going to stop. So just that determination, that ferocity to just keep going for what you want, no matter what, like half your face is coming off and you're still like, come at me, bro. Come on.
That's
Inspiring.
reminded me of the intensity of the Wolverine scene with Jean. when it was going after Jean, and you see his skin peeling off, and you're like, he earned my respect with that scene. Like after that, I was like, man, this guy has my respect. You know, it was so intense, and you really get to understand how valuable Wolverine is. He's not just this monster that just wants to be left alone. He has his moments, and his moments are critical, you know, to the evolving of the story, the scene, and you know, everything that he does himself. I mean, pretty much everyone in the X-Men universe respects Wolverine, of course, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. So if you could play a character in Marvel, who would it be?
Blade.
Blade. Why? I didn't even see that coming, but why?
Again, one of Blade's main characteristics is he's dark and broody and all of that, but he's in a constant battle with himself. Blade's biggest enemy is himself. Not vampires, not Frost, not Dracula, not any outside influences. It's himself. And that's his struggle with his rage and the struggle with, you know, the vampiric thirst of fighting. Yeah, of not wanting to feed and retaining his human side. And that speaks to me because we all have those. Everybody on planet Earth has a internal struggle that they battle with on a daily, minutely, hourly basis that forces us and challenges us. And so just with that alone connects with me and why I would love to play Blade. The opportunity to act out all that inner turmoil and then just look super dope on top of that, you know. Come on.
You heard about Blade 4 coming out, and it's going to be this guy, Marshall Ali.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Honestly, when I first heard it, I was like, huh?
He's not Marshall Ali was a dope ass dude. He's not Wesley Snipes, but he's dope.
I was like, he's not Wesley Snipes, and he doesn't know kung fu or anything like that. So I was automatically just judging him, but then as soon as I started doing that, I caught myself, I'm like, no. But neither did Sticky Fingers when he reprised the role in the Blade series, which was Dynamite. And so I'm like, no, this is a different Blade. This is more superhero Blade, more integrated with superheroes in the MCU Blade. So this is a different type of character. So they need a different type of actor. And as soon as I talked that with myself, I'm like, oh, this dude is going to kill it. Because he's a phenomenal actor, like hands down. Everything he's done just killed. So I have no doubt he's going to bring nothing but the best to this role.
True. If okay, how about if you could play a role in DC?
DC.
A role excluding Batman.
Okay. This might take me a little bit because I haven't thought about being anybody else other than Batman. So give me just a second. Because DC has a full of lot of characters. You know, I like Martian Manhunter, actually. Because he too has internal struggles, and I like heroes that don't have a goofy weakness like kryptonite, like Superman. Like you got this god character, but he puts this little rock in front of him and he turns into a little girl. I don't like that. I'd rather someone with a weakness that's either internal or like more like a struggle. Like their biggest fight isn't with their nemesis, is with themselves. And Martian Manhunter, I believe, encapsulates that because he constantly is tortured by being one of the only Martians left, by being helpless to like save his family, but by those feelings of helplessness, that turned him into the hero we have now, because he fights and goes so hard for his new people, which is Earth. And so for someone to take all that pain and in essence turn it into a strength and fight for people that are not your natural people, come on, that speaks volumes to a person's character. How they can take up arms and defend another people because it's the right thing to do, not because, oh, they're my people, but because that's wrong and this is right, or because the weak are being oppressed by the strong, whatever the issue is, that speaks volumes. So yeah, that's why I would connect with Martian Manhunter.
That's deep, though. That's deep. Funny enough, I watched Justice League, the cartoon, very recently. Back in the days, like this was like 15 years ago, I used to watch Justice League, like every single episode of the cartoon from season 1 to like season 8 or 9, whatever. And a couple of weeks ago, I just saw the cartoon again. This was the ones I watched like years ago, and I just saw the story of the Martian, the Martian man. And I saw the story again, and you just seeing it just made it all, connect and refreshing again. Like the truth, that's the truth. Like him just being able to do this, and he was actually trying to save his planet, but then it became an accident, and he was trying to take out the bad guys, but then the whole thing took out both the bad guys and the good guys, and he realizes that they were coming to the Earth too, the enemies, and he was like, let me go out there, warn them, and then join the army and help them in defending the planet Earth, which is very, very interesting. Bane or Joker when it comes to villain, Dark Knight villain, Bane or Joker? I'm not talking about Joaquin Phoenix Joker, though.
Yeah,
Heath Ledger Joker
and Tom Hardy Bane. Okay. Oh man. Ooh. Okay. Because as much as I love The Dark Knight and as great of a movie as Dark Knight is, honestly, Bane ekes out the better villain to me than Joker because of this reason. Joker challenged Batman emotionally, mentally, like ethics-wise, like very cerebral. Bane, he did that, but is also Batman's physical match.
Yeah.
So that's why he kind of, they're the same, if not a little bit better, Bane is to me, because he literally broke Batman down mentally, physically, took all his stuff.
Everything.
like that fight, that first fight, he's like, oh, before I destroy your city, now I'll show you where I laid my home. Right underneath yours, and I'm taking all your stuff. So ain't nothing you can do about it, Batman. Cacao! I'm the man. And so with that, I'm just like, yo, Bane is the man.
Bane has some power lines. Dialogue. Like
line, okay. When they first start the fight and he catches him and he's like, victory has cost you your strength. Success has defeated you. I'm like, hold on, what did he just say? Oh, that's so deep. Because when you're used to being on the top, when you know nothing but winning, you kind of don't elevate because you're like, you're the best. And once you're the best, you're like, oh, I'm already the best. What I need to be better for. And then that's when someone like Bane comes down and knocks you down a peg, which is an important lesson that we all can learn. As good as we think we are, as awesome, as untouchable as we think we are, someone can always touch us.
Excellent. 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 Yeah, Bane was just so powerful. He had this charisma as well. Like when you just see him, and I remember this part when he was like, when Batman was like, taking out the lights, and it was like, I was born in this deck. And Batman was like, you learn how to be in the dark. I was born in this thing.
Think darkness is your ally. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the lights till I was already a man.
But then it was nothing to me.
Right?
Like he had some lines that you would be like, let me grab a note and just write it down so I could say this somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, Bane was a power character. I really love Bane. I love Dark Knight Rises. I loved it so much. But of course, Dark Knight was really great in its own. And you were very right, because Joker wasn't a physical match for Batman, but Bane was Batman's physical match. In fact, if not better at some point. But towards the end fight, Batman was like, okay, he really had Bane, because he learned, he crawled out of the pit that transformed him, and of course, it's the hero of the movie as well. So we gotta, it's Batman. So, but it's awesome though. I mean, we just leave that aside. I was gonna ask you, do you have like in the film industry? What do you think about the film industry in general when it comes to providing support for upcoming actors? How does the industry helps upcoming actors? And if anything, what can a fast rising or an upcoming actor, what can they learn when it comes to navigating their ways, navigating the ropes, and just keep going up in the business? What are those principles, those values, those things that you could just share with us that has been helping you in your journey so far?
Okay. One major thing that I'm learning is your journey is your journey. One of the worst things you can do is compare yourself. Oh, I've been acting for 2 years and so got a blah, blah, blah role and I'm still... That is the worst thing you can do to yourself. By all means, avoid comparison. Because again, your journey is your journey. You don't know what the next person has that could have got them that leg up. And that's literally all it could be too. So to give yourself peace of mind and to take back your power, do not compare yourself to others. Trust your journey. Trust your process. Yeah, of course, seek help, get guidance, get tips. Of course, that's the name of the game. Constantly learn, but don't compare yourself to others. That's one of the major things that I learned so far, which will help you tremendously. Once you do something to keep your mental right, that's like most of the game. Then I would say networking is key, because this is one of those businesses, if not the business, not what you know, but who you know, plays so much louder than what you can do. Now, that's not taking anything away from educating yourself and preparing yourself, because when you are in this business, opportunity can knock and present itself at any time for anywhere. So you always want to make sure that you are prepared as best as you can be, because if you stay sharp, you don't have to get sharp. You're always ready. If you stay prepared, you don't have to get prepared. You're always ready. And that transcends a lot of contextual situations as far as just being on set in general. You studied your lines, you prepared, you did all your character studies, script analysis, went over your notes with the director. You show up that day and they're like, all right, we're not doing that. We're not doing that scene. We're doing a completely other scene. You could get all panicked and, oh, but I just spent all day. No. You did the work. Trust yourself. Yeah, we're not doing exactly that, but take what you were doing for that and apply it to this. Don't try not to stress out. Do not put expectations on things. It's another big one. Oh, I'm gonna do this movie, I'm gonna do this feature film, and my life is gonna be set after this. So once I do this pilot, the calls are gonna start coming in. No, don't do that. Attack every role and approach every role with 120,000% of your ability. Approach it like this is going to take you places, but don't put the expectation. Don't put the demand on it like, oh yeah, I do this, then this is going to happen. Because it won't like that. And if you do that, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment constantly. And then that disappointment is going to weigh on you. And then that starts breaking all your other stuff down. Then you start getting less motivated, and all that other ifs and negative stuff starts seeping into your mind. You don't want that. So not comparing yourself to others, not putting expectations on things.
The networking.
Key.
Trust in the process.
Trust in your process. Because once you start networking, all that other stuff will start to happen. Because, I don't know where to go. Where do actors hang out? Once you start networking, you'll talk to an actor. Oh, I go to class here. Or, actors hang out here. Boom. Doors start opening up for you. Mm-hmm. And as long as you keep that open mind like that and constantly learning and humbling yourself, as far as you can never know too much, but not being too humble as in not shining, that's the equilibrium.
That's profound, honestly. You explained it and you even summarized it. And when it comes to networking, I mean, we all know networking is key, but I hope whomever is watching this video doesn't just take it lightly, because networking is a skill. I feel like there should be like a year course program devoted just to networking, because it's a skill. It's something, it's so fundamental that you have to understand. You have to be intentional about it. You have to be like, okay, this is a new dude. I've never met this dude before, or I've never spoken to this person before, a dude or a lady, and I want to connect with this person. You have to be, it's not like you don't meet people by accident. You have to be intentional. You have to maybe, like you said, go to meetups events, which like acting or actors meetup event, or maybe like a small film festival organized by, young actors and directors. There's so many ways you could get this thing done intentionally. Filling out your calendar. I remember when I just came to New York, this was years ago though, I would like look for meetups, and I would go to all these events, and I would meet so many people. It was because I was like, because I want to meet people. In fact, to the point where I tell myself, if I know 20 people and I'm going out, I make sure I talk to someone new. I don't just go out and be like, I know 20 people and I talk to those that I know. No, I have to talk, even if it's just hi, I have to say to someone that I've never said it to before, because it's part of the routine thing that I've like ingrained into my networking mindset, that you have to, because I believe if you're talking to 20 people and tomorrow you do the same thing and then you repeat that for like a month, all you've known is just, are just these 20 people. And if anything happens, if one of them decides to go their way, it reduces. But if, even though you have networked with these 20 people and you still keep, reaching out to more people, you are expanding network wise, and you are also knowing those that have like almost the same mindset as yours, that you want to keep in your circle, that you want to like, okay, this person, I could work a long time with this person. All right, this person, they're a little bit over the place, so I could work, short time with this person. Or this person is so busy, but when I can get hold of them, man, we could do something magnificent. So you begin to know people, you begin to learn people. But there's this kind of mindset that people bring on set, and I want to just hear your take on this. I've seen people come and say, I've been like, oh, I'm a perfectionist, I'm this, I don't want to make mistake, and I understand, and I used to be like that too. And it got to a point I had to switch, and someone was telling me, I was like, I feel like people that say they're perfectionists are saying this from a point of insecurity. Because the very first way to learn is by making mistakes, if anything. I'm like, if you come on set and you keep saying you're a perfectionist, you don't want to make no mistake, you're taking away, your ability to learn something. But that is just what I think, but I would like to hear your spin on this. I'd like to hear your spin on this.
Okay. It's funny you mentioned that, because I literally had a instance yesterday. I was filming with an actor, and they said those same exact words. They're like, yeah, I'm a perfectionist, so I blah blah blah. And then I'm like, listen, there's no such thing as perfect, so let go of that right now. It's like, really, all that does is get you in your head. And as an actor, as a performer, I mean, really as a person in general, but for the sake of this, as an actor, that is the worst thing you could do. Because touching on what you said, Dapo, you don't give yourself the room to make mistakes, to breathe. Because sometimes that mistake can yield the benefit that you were looking for. By you making the mistake of going way off in left field, and the director is like, I see what you did there. I like that direction, but let me shape it, bring it back, and then now do it like this. Now you got a masterful performance that you would have never got if you didn't allow yourself to breathe and make that mistake. And then that's the thing. Editing makes the performances perfect. That's why we do multiple takes, because we know you're not perfect. We know nothing is going to be perfect. That's Excellent. The beauty of having takes. So, and also, I'm a perfectionist. You put all that pressure on yourself, and that's the worst thing you can do. You already have so much pressure on you. Why put more pressure on yourself? Just that simple thought alone. Don't put any more pressure on yourself than is necessary, and give yourself that time to breathe and make that mistake and be comfortable. Because when you're all like, oh, I got to be perfect, you're stiff, you're rigid, you're not water, you're not flowing, you're not doing anything, you're just there.
You're a nice block.
Right?
Allow yourself to melt.
Right, exactly. You're an ice block. Allow yourself to melt into that water and be everywhere, And so that's how I feel about that. Like, there is no such thing as perfection. And the whole point of acting is letting go. Letting go of who Paquito G. Myers is and embracing who Jason is, or embracing the doctor, or embracing whatever role that I'm in. That's what, to me, acting is about. Letting go, surrendering, as well as embracing. It's a dichotomy to it, but yeah, just let yourself go.
And that was poetry. What you just spinned right now, that's poetry in motion. Like, no one could have said it any better. And the reason why I asked you is because I've never seen you come on set with the mindset of, I don't want to make mistake. You're one of the freest human being I've worked with on sets. You're just like, you know what? This is the role. Fine, let's just do it. I've never seen you worried about anything. But on the other hand, I've worked with multiple actors and actresses, and when they come in, they're like, because when they see me, they always have this mindset of, oh man, this dude wants to get the best, and I respect that too, because I want the best too. But then I try to get them out of this perfectionist mindset, because I'm like, even though I used to say I'm a perfectionist, now I'm taking it out of my vocabulary. That, and if there's an actor hearing this or actress, I am not some perfectionist. Okay, I leave room for mistake, because just like Paquito just mentioned, that is why we have it. Even though we're always, time restrained on set, maybe the location was rented, and we're hard on time. We have to leave. We have to get a performance, but I never put that pressure on any of my talents. Like, hey, even though the time, like, that's not for the talent. The talent is to be in the character and embodied character and just focus on that, And yeah, like if you're listening to this, forget about being the perfectionist, okay? Just focus on improvement and progress. Okay? Focus on improvement, focus on progress, and focus on, just like you say, letting go.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on being the character, and embodying, the character. If you would, all right, let's say in Hollywood, because I don't want to be super generic about everything, but in Hollywood, do you have a director that you've seen and you're like, man, I would love to work with this director over time? Looks like you have like 50 of them, but all right.
Yes, but I definitely do have a number one, though.
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino, without a doubt, be on top of my list for a few reasons. Number one, it was Pulp Fiction. That's the movie that really kicked off the change in me that I wanted to be an actor. And it was Pulp Fiction and Samuel Jackson together, which initiated that. So there you see a couple of my little motivations right there. But Quentin Tarantino, because he to me embodies the essence of like filmmaking. People say, oh, Tarantino just steals and copies and whatever. No. He makes his inspirations known of where he gets his material and his his inspiration from.
Yeah, he says, and he mentions the name.
Exactly. He doesn't hide it.
The funny thing, I was sorry to cut you off. I was watching the video and he said, I took the last 15 minutes of his film and I put it in my film. And I told him that like he said, he took the film and he told the director that I took your film. It was a form of even paying respect to the director, to me personally, but please keep going.
Mm-hmm. And it's, again, take these very blatant elements that are from somewhere else. He puts them in this little jar or whatever, sprinkles his craziness, his dialogue, his wittiness, his insane characters, and just like, what is some cool shit that I want to see? Throws that all in there, bam, and then spits out a Quentin Tarantino movie. And when you watch a Quentin Tarantino movie, you know you watched a Quentin Tarantino movie. You don't have to ask, wait, who's the director of this? You know by the dialogue, by the visual style, by the characters, by the aesthetic, by multitude of reasons of why it's a Tarantino film. And for me, that distinct style and that ability to be like, oh man, yeah, that's a Quentin Tarantino film. For me, that was one of the first times I was able to really discern that in a director and a filmmaker. Because, as an actor, being just a movie lover in general, watch thousands of films. And so it's just like, oh, you see a few movies by Steven Spielberg, or something. And it's just like, okay, Steven Spielberg, I kind of know what I'm going to get. Big budget action, might be some sci-fi, grand, epic scale. But then he switches it up on you. He does something like E.T., then does something like Saving Private Ryan, then Ready Player One, Indiana Jones. Like, directors like that, you know, where they can be chameleons almost is another joy to watch. But in particular to work with Tarantino, because he really kicked that fire off of me, and I just want to work with his crazy ass.
Interesting, you know, it's so interesting because what you just said now about, you know, a director being dynamic, it's something that I've been learning over time because I used to think, oh, as a director, you should have your own form, your own way, that when people see people like, oh, it becomes uniform. But then I got exposed to Fred Zinnemann, and I was studying his work, and I saw he's a very old director. He was making films in the 1950s and 1960s, and he had like 2 or 3 Academy Awards. But after watching a couple of his films, I realized that he doesn't have like a specific way of making his film. He just allows the movie to be the movie. He allows the story to be told. He doesn't, like, you don't see like, oh, he doesn't have to like put himself like, this is my movie, this is who I am. So he just like, it's a movie, it's a story, and I want to tell the truth of the story, you know. And he puts his own whatever, you know. He's very, very his use of motifs, his lighting technique and everything. Then you could see all of those things, but then you don't see like, man, this is like a movie whereby I think someone who does something like what I'm saying now is someone like Christopher Nolan. When you see a Christopher Nolan movie, you can almost tell, man, because you can just tell it's Christopher Nolan, of course, because he's all over the movie. You know, he's just all over the movie. I love Christopher Nolan, by the way. He's a director that I've also been studying over the years. I've been watching a lot of his movies as well. I really love him, but I respect the dynamic, because just like we're saying, don't be an ice block. Okay.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to take multiple forms, because times are changing, you know, modes are changing, ideologies are changing, and how do you evolve, you know, with all this things that keeps evolving around you? You don't want to stay in one place. You want to, because that might even be the end of someone's career. If times are changing, your audience keeps changing, but then you stay the same. They'll be like, okay, all right, we're tired of saying this, dude. Okay, we're tired of saying this work. Do you have like a top 5 actor that you kind of enjoyed their work in recent time? Let's say in the space of the last 5 years.
Okay. Actors. 5 actors, actresses. Okay.
See. Actors and actresses.
Okay. Michael B. Jordan, because essentially we are like as close to being the same as 2 different people can be. Because we kind of grew up in the same area, we're around the same age. I would say we kind of have a similar type of look, and I feel that we're kind of similar in person, because he seems like a real cool, chill, laid back dude that's just like, okay. But then once you start scratching the surface, then you start peeling away more layers and stuff. But he also takes on challenging roles, and I think he plays against his type. Because like Killmonger, for example, I don't think he's super angry and aggressive and gung-ho like that in real life. But he played the hell out of that part, though. Creed, again, you know, he got so much angst and aggression, but his heart is good, you know. And so I see him taking roles like how I would take, because that's how I choose my roles. Sometimes when I'm just blessed. And you have a director such as yourself who offers you a juicy role that you can bite into and push yourself and challenge yourself, like Jason, you know. And so, yeah, that's why I connect with Michael B.
Okay, that's one.
That's one. And let me see. I really love and appreciate Zoe Saldana too. What she's doing for actresses of color, as well as being like a new badass action, because I love action. And she's like one of those that can do that badass action role, like a Black Widow, or like Gamora, like how she is in Avengers, you know, or like Colombiana, or like a Tomb Raider, like Angelina Jolie. Like I love what she's doing for us as well. You know, she's representing, and then she doesn't always play stereotypical Latina or minority roles. She isn't the hood rat or just the hot girl or anything like that. She plays cerebral roles in which she's intelligent, and she plays the hardcore roles in which she's action. Then she plays the emotional roles like Avatar, which is a mixture of everything, you know. I really respect her for that, and I appreciate her, and I love her talent. Now, like three more. The Rock. The Rock. The Rock. I love The Rock since he was The Rock. I love The Rock since he was before The Rock, when he was wrestling, before he took on the name of The Rock. I love The Rock. But then when he started elevating and transcending the wrestling and started doing the movies, I'm like, yes, he's doing movies. And he went back to the wrestling, I'm like, okay. And then he just became a full-time actor. I'm like, yes, The Rock, you got my respect all day, every day, because that man is the epitome of hustle. Like, be the hardest worker in the room. That's The Rock, yo. Especially seeing his show too, and seeing his upbringing. Wow. Just wow. He had in a way, so much opportunity to kind of ride on his family's coattails, but he didn't. He didn't. Because life constantly humbled him and taught him that you need to put in your own work. You need to put in your own work. And by that mentality that he has, and his production company, $7, and that whole origin of that, of how he had $7 in his pocket, and he used that to basically elevate himself to one of the Hollywood's leading men, one of the most successful businessmen, from tequila. Like, this man is tequila, energy drinks, workout stuff, Beats, Under Armour clothing. Like, this man is in everything. So The Rock gets my respect and my love always. The hustle, and he's constantly getting better. He wasn't the best actor when he started. I mean, he's a wrestler transitioning into an actor, which wrestling is acting anyway. It's different. Live acting,
I get
camera
that.
acting. You know? But he got better and really just became a great actor now. And just that whole progression. And again, him being one of us too also helps. Like, you know what? It is possible. Like, to me, The Rock is like a modern life superhero, honestly. He came up from the bottom, fought. He had, again, every opportunity to be lazy and ride his family, but then he made his own name and exceeded it in my eyes. So, yeah, Rock is a superhero, man. Like,
I was just thinking about how, what his schedule is like, someone like that, like what his calendar is like. It's just going to be crazy. Like, how many meetings can you attend in a day? How many positions do
Right?
you want to be in one day? How many sets do you want to be in one day? It's just that dude is really hardworking. Honest, I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
Um, so that's three. Let's see. Go a little different here. Christopher Walken.
Hmm.
I love Christopher Walken because you talk about being yourself. He is the epitome of that. He personifies that, and he said it in an interview. He's like, when people give me scripts, I change it to fit me because I'm only me. I don't know. I'm not this other guy. I only know how to draw for me. And I'm like, yo, that's so simple but brilliant. Like, it's him. Like, as actors, we like to get all cerebral. We're like, oh, we're becoming the character and blah, 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 and all this metaphysical stuff. And yes, there's a side to that as well. But he's just like, yo, you give me a script with words and you giving it to me, Christopher Walken. So I'm gonna put commas where there's periods. I'm gonna put periods where there's commas. I'm taking some words out and I'm making it so it fits me. But when you watch Christopher Walken, yeah, it's Christopher Walken, but each role is still different. But it's his distinctness, his Christopher Walkenness that he brings to every role. But each role is still iconic. From King of New York, Batman, like, come on, Seven Psychopaths, like, come on, the list goes on of his iconic roles.
Yeah, he did a Bond villain too.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, interesting. Like he's
Bond villain.
Yeah, he's one of his that was one of his most iconic roles. One of the roles where I really love his acting. He acted Zorin and he did an awesome job in it.
So again, touching on your villains, how a good villain can really elevate your hero.
True.
So let me see. And I got one more.
Final one.
My final one. Let's see. I'm gonna go one of my classics, man. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold is the man to me because, again, he's another one who wasn't an actor first. This dude was a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder, right? So it's such as he's a muscle model, right? But then he transitioned into be one of the biggest action stars, action movie icons of all time. Like, again, his journey to me, I think, was one of the most inspiring things. And then the fact that, yeah, Arnold may not be the best actor in the world, but he delivers in every time he's on screen. And his iconic roles, Terminator, Eraser, like, he has classics that you need more than 10 toes and 10 fingers that you could count. And that's not just box office standards, that's cult following, like movies that people just love and genuinely mess with because they're that good or there's something about them. Arnold, just his journey transitioning from muscle man to actor, and then just owning that role of the actor and his ambition too of, you know what? I want more. Oh, I'm going to be governor of California. Like, it just doesn't stop. And then just that hunger is what makes Arnold the man to me. Like,
it's so
and it's just inspiring.
It's inspiring. It's interesting that he came from a different country. He doesn't even speak English. Was taking English class. Was taking acting class. Was doing bodybuilding, and was working as a I think he was as a construction worker as well. So was doing all those things, but then he has this strong will and determination. Like, you know what, I'm gonna go for this thing. And I think when he was acting, I'm not sure if it was Conan the Barbarian, and they were like, he needs to do something to his weight, and that was like a different goal, as well. But yeah, of course, Arnold he's a classic. Now I'm remembering movies like True Lies, like Twins, like Jingle All the Way. I'm thinking about movies like that.
Yes.
This is like you see. I've seen Arnold in dynamic acting, and I think it was one of the highest paid acting as well at some point.
Oh yeah.
The Rock 2 was 2 years ago. I don't know about now, but 2 years ago, The Rock was the highest paid actor in Hollywood as well. I think this guy was there too. Will Smith was there. Jackie Chan was there. A couple of them. Robert Downey Jr. Oh man, why didn't you put him on the list?
Iron Man. Yeah. I mean, if you're giving me two more, I would probably put Robert Downey and Keanu Reeves. Because
their journeys. Talks about Keanu Reeves too.
Their journeys.
He's so reserved, but when it's time to act, it's like you don't know. You've seen that picture that went viral of him being on a train
and giving up his seat.
People giving up a seat. Like he just likes to, like, he doesn't see the whole celebrity status, the whole like he likes to just be with the people, be among the people. Maybe it's a strategy to learn how to to get into a specific character. Maybe, but yeah, Keanu Reeves is someone that he's not being, like, we don't talk so much about him, like so many. He doesn't create a scenario, like a scene, like I want to be seen.
Yeah.
He doesn't do all of those things. What would you say about my man Denzel?
Denzel, of course.
I didn't see him on the list, but it's okay.
Yeah, he's not on the list because I didn't put Denzel on the list because I love Denzel. Denzel has done countless things in the industry for us, as far as the waves he's made and the roles he's taken, of not taking stereotypical roles, of him taking stereotypical roles and completely making it his own and making it Oscar, Academy Award, Golden Globe award-winning performances. And he did all of that. I love Denzel because he brings like a dignity and a nobility to acting. Like, to me, Denzel is like a Shakespearean actor, but now as a Black dude who just brings integrity and dignity and nobility to every project. Like, whenever you see Denzel Washington, oh man, it's just like the prestige level automatically rises because of what he has done. And again, it's one of the greatest actors of our time, if not the greatest. Culturally, I mean, he has impacted America in filmmaking so many ways by just really blatantly playing iconic characters like Malcolm X. Like, not only does he look just like Malcolm X, but come on, that performance, like, you're like, yo, was Malcolm X reincarnated for this movie? No, that's Denzel Washington. No way. Like, he just completely embodies every role. And then him, Hurricane Carter, that story and that message, Also, his ability to play all of these iconic roles and still be different. Because it's like Christian Bale, for example. When you think Christian Bale, you think Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has done plenty of other iconic roles. American Psycho,
The Prestige.
The Prestige, a bunch of other stuff. But 9 times out of 10, you think Christian Bale, you think Batman.
Mm-hmm. I get what you just said now, because I've seen him in some places. I'm like, oh, but I just remember the Batman face.
Right? Denzel, Malcolm X, Hurricane Carter, so John Q, Alonzo Harris, so many iconic characters, but he's never just, oh, that's Training Day, or oh, that's Equalizer, or oh, you can't do that because he's Denzel. that's why he gets my respect. But he wasn't on my list because personally, those others touched me just a little bit more.
Yeah, I
they had a personal.
Yeah, I saw the story and you could connect with the story. And I think The Rock is so good at telling stories, telling his own story. And while he's telling his own story, he immerses himself, and he also immerses the audience into the story. Like, you'll be like, wow, this big ass dude could be so vulnerable. Like, he's almost crying on screen. I'm like, he's so good at doing that, dude.
Yes.
But talking about, because it's almost like The Rock and Arnold have the same story, you know, coming from this to becoming an actor, bodybuilding actor, wrestling actor, and now Arnold is a governor. Do you think The Rock would run for president? Because he released a picture very recently. You saw the post?
Well, and two, because his show, he's running for president.
Wait, you said what?
In his show, Young Rock, the whole setup, he's running for president.
Okay.
And that's why we're getting these stories. It's great. It is honestly a brilliant show. The whole setup is it's 2032, he's running for president. And each episode is a story into his past that relates to like an issue going on like in the present time. And the way they do it is brilliant. So that's probably why it's going around, because he actually is running for president in the show. But
hey, man, that's crazy. I got to see that show, though. I got to see the show. Wow.
It's great. Will he? Do I think? I don't think he would, but I think he would be good. Because
he'll make a good president.
Yes, because of his beginnings. He knows humble beginnings, and he knows the top of the mountain, and he knows everywhere in between. So he can literally relate to anybody. He can relate to someone who's on their last $7. He can relate to the normal person busting their butt on the 9 to 5. He can relate to the celebrity and to the elite and to the rich, because he literally has lived all of those lives. And if that doesn't make someone perfect or a great candidate for running a country filled with all of those people, I don't know what does.
Yeah, he has that leadership attribute, and he has this way of, like I said, you know, he has a way of telling the stories and immersing himself and immersing the audience, so he can literally connect with anyone on different level. And you can, and that is what people usually want in a leader, in a president. If you look at Obama, I usually share with people that when Obama is speaking on TV, it's almost like he's in the same room with you. I'm like, this guy could be the shittiest human being in the world, but he can still connect with people. You know, I've seen people like hold this picture and they're like hugging him, like, oh, that Obama is this. And most of the presidents over time that were very successful, that people really loved, they all had this ability to communicate on a very personal level, even though they are far away, even though they're on the podium or they're on the screen. And I really think, it's not even think, I know um, The Rock could do something like that. He can connect with people on a very deep personal level because he has the right story, he has the right experience, and he has been exposed to multiple things, you know. But we'll see when people think about Paquito G. Myers in, let's say, in the next 10 years, what do you want people to see? Or don't let me put a time on it. When people think about Paquito G. Myers, what do you want people to think about?
I want people to feel, number one, feel the magic that I felt when, like I touched on earlier. When I was younger, I used to watch movies, and I would lose myself. Like, I would be a part of the movie essentially. And then when it was done, I would walk away with something, inspired, motivated, thinking about things different, what have you. I want that magic to come across. I want people to see me be inspired, be motivated, think about things differently, think more highly of themselves. Because that was something that I struggle with heavily and still struggle with today, of really loving myself and embracing myself and then just celebrating myself. I want people to do all of those things. Celebrate yourself, love yourself, cherish yourself, treat yourself, and then just be good with who you are. And then be inspired by that. Be inspired by yourself to do more. Be inspired, motivated by yourself to learn more, to help someone, to go after what you want, to do it, to go after what you believe in, to really believe in something and stick to it. And just to know that, life doesn't always have to be so serious. Loosen up. And just enjoy. I want people to do all that when they think of me or when they see projects.
Well said. Well said. Talking about project, do you have any project that you're working on right now that you want people to look forward to? You don't have to spoil anything. Just do your thing.
Let's see here. Well, actually, there's a project that we have that I can't wait for people to see, called Take the Bait.
And the trailer I'll be showing the trailer immediately after this video, so audience stay tuned.
So there's definitely that. I'm doing a few comedy. I'm doing some comedy now, some comedy skits and voiceovers. If you want to go to YouTube and look up Puppet Runts, I play a voice of a puppet character called Hood. And this is interesting because it's like almost an urban take on puppets. Like, you got Miss Piggy and Kermit and all of that. But basically, we bring puppets to the hood and they live life as hood puppets, essentially, so it's a different little twist on it. So that's fun for me. Then I would say I recently finished a feature film called Elios, directed by Savi Friedman, which will be coming this year or next year. It was my first feature film, and I have a supporting role in that. It was challenging because, again, being a feature film, it takes a certain another level of dedication. But when you have a great team and a great creative team and a writer and director who is firm in his vision, it makes it easier to work. It allows it to breathe. So be on the lookout for that, Elios. Let's see. I got to go back to the Rolodex now because it's just like I'm constantly doing stuff. So it's like, okay, what do I have next? Going to be starting my own podcast. If you can't tell, I'm a fat boy. I love food. I love to eat. So I'm starting a podcast called Rhyming and Dining, in which I have musical guests. And, we go different restaurants. We sit down, have conversations, eat. And then we break down our meal. We critique our meal in rhyming form. So, nice little spin on a traditional food review show while highlighting, up and coming talents and established talents as well. Plus we get some good grub on, so everybody wins. Let's see.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, man. I got a couple things in the works. Plus working on some music. Just shot a music video this past weekend called Cold. Nalo, Caesar Porter, be on the lookout for that coming soon. Follow Nalo Music on Instagram. Follow Caesar Porter on Instagram. Any news on that? Let's see. You know what? That's all I got right now. I know there's
sounds like you have your calendars filled just like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson as well. That's
working
awesome. Now I see why you love The Rock.
Yes.
Yeah, because
I'm also filming wrestling shows as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's
if people want to reach out to you, how do they connect with you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Paquito, Paquito _G Myers, Myers. Also Paquito G Myers on Facebook, as well as Paquito G Myers on YouTube. I try to make it easy for you. You can find me, DM me, communicate with me through there, and also post all the updates on my latest projects and my availability, things like that up there as well. So you can find me.
All right, the show is finally coming to an end. Do you have any final parting words for the audience?
Keep going. Whatever you want to do, keep going with it. Just trust yourself. Block out all the noise. Don't tell everybody what you're doing, because power moves in silence. Keep to yourself. Keep close to the chest of what you really want. Go for it. Break down what you want to go for into smaller goals. Oh, I want to reach this. What do I need to do to get that? Oh, I need to do A, B, C, and D, and 1, 2, and 3. The better you can do that, the more you keep yourself motivated, the more progress you'll make, and the less bogged down you'll get with where you want to be, and the more happy you'll be with where you are. But know that you're not staying there.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Paquito G Myers, thank you for being a guest on the session. I appreciate your presence. We appreciate your presence. I've learned a lot. I believe tons of people have learned a lot from you. And to the audience, if you are into learning about leadership, or you want to improve your networking skills, or you want to improve your communication skills, this is your last bus stop for that. This channel is the last bus stop for that. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you click the subscribe button. Comment on this video, like and share this video. Don't be selfish about it. Make sure you spread it out for all of your friends to see, because we love you all, and thank you for staying with us up to this very moment of the session. Take care, everyone. Remember, always be your best self.